Greetings, friends. Salutations from space, aloha from Earth. Thanks to Eric Deutsch, whose grand piano you heard here at the beginning of this live flow, where I want to speak about the power and working with the power of Regulus, the heart of the lion, the royal star, said to be the star that rules them all. Regulus, the little prince. Regulus, a Bohemian star, one of the magical stars of Hermes, of Mercury, from the Renaissance magical tradition. Some say it goes all the way back. And why today, on Friday, Venus's Day, May 26, 2023, it's a good time to connect through the moon to this heart of lion in the sky, and why there will be other moon Regulus conjunctions throughout the remainder of this year of 2023 that show kind of challenges of working with Regulus. And yet, isn't that the way with royalty? So it's going to be a short one today. I'm getting ready to do some works with clients, but also with Regulus today. And for me, kind of opening into my relationship with Regulus. I've just recently wrapped up a 4-week deep dive workshop. Let me show you a little bit about that. So at GeminiBrett.com still, and this is one of the works I am required to do today, still at the homepage, you will find this Fixed Stars course. And soon that 123 will look a little bit lower because this is going to be available to witness as a already recorded deep dive workshop where I taught using these wonderful astrological techniques, not only where the fixed stars project to in the zodiac, which is a powerful way to play, actually. And basically 99% of what folks are doing in work with the fixed stars and bringing the fixed stars into the chart, but also working with the circle of matter, as I call it, in the primary motion, the spinning of our sky, because Earth spins beneath our feet, and the power of parallels between planets and stars, and planets for that matter, in your natal chart or in any moment we might consider. And then working with parans, a wonderful and just powerful technique that helps us see very different types of connections between planets and stars, very much popularized by the great astrologer Bernadette Brady in our day, and referencing this anonymous paper from what we believe to be 379 AD by some astrologer of old that folks have come to call Anonymous 379 for that reason, that speaks about the power of planets having kind of coangularity. So in this class that I've just finished teaching, grounding the fixed stars into your astrology, I teach the astronomical techniques of projections and parallels and parans. And also the first class was just like, hey, go and connect with that star personally in your heart, right? Anyway, so you'll still see that at the top of my homepage at GeminiBrett.com. Beneath that, my mailing list. So please sign that if you're not on it, because if you're there, you're going to hear about this first. I mean, you're hearing about this here, and maybe you have already, but this is my next deep dive workshop that I'm kind of on the fence right now. It's either going to start on Saturday, June 10th, or I'm leaning now more towards Saturday, June 17th, just because of what the sky is doing at that time, and also give me a little bit more time to rest in between, as well as the many students who just joined me for this fixed star journey. So the next jam is going to be in fractal timing techniques. We in astrology are so often interested in transits, which are amazing and powerful, right? Like how the current planetary geometry is aspecting our natal planetary geometry, or the geometry of any moment concerned, right? And I love transits because it's something I can point to in the sky. Like tonight, there will be a transit of what we call mundane or global transit. It's something happening for us all, where I will see clouds allowing, and right now it doesn't look so great, but the forecast actually seems positive for this evening, which will be my chance to get outside and kind of charge this garnet, this lion's heart, in this moon Regulus conjunction, which is my plan. I'm going to speak a little bit about that today. And just tiny little astro magic things in general. I've got 12 minutes to do so, so we're not going to go so deep here. But just to let you know about this deep dive workshop that's coming up, progressing, perfecting, and directing your chart. The transit picture is certainly by far the most popular timing technique that's utilized in astrology today. It goes all the way back to the beginning. It probably is actually the birth of astrology, tracking what these days we call mundane transits, right? And then personal transits, like when planets connect to the zones of the zodiac that hosted powerful planets and points in the moment of your becoming, right? Like these are initiations, they are activations. Astrology calls them hits. I really resist that. And maybe initiation doesn't sound any more pleasant to you. Hopefully it does, but activation, visitation, right? Invitation, welcoming, really depending on the transit itself. I eventually will have a series of transit deep dives, but I think it's something that astrology so often teaches today that it happens to be something that, besides like natal chart work, astrologers and astrology students are really most familiar with. The idea of fractal timing techniques, it brings us into like more auric fields of time and diluted time. And I mean, it's just really hard to understand why. In the case of secondary progressions, for example, I would here at the age of 47 and a half years old be concerned with a chart from when I was 47 and a half days old, or even with a chart from 47 and a half days before my birth. Like that is a very intriguing and strange thing. What would the rationalists say? And yet we find, and I imagine if you've pursued study of secondary progressions, that somehow there's truth, somehow it works, somehow there's this kind of ocean of fractal time within which our current time is held. So progressions are one of the ways for us to look at these other energies of time, other expressions of time. And it's not real time. It's kind of important to know, like these things don't show up as much like in a real world way as transit activations can, but they can really help us understand the context of transiting experience. So progressions, solar arc directions are a very popular technique now, where we direct all of the planets. They say it's really arcing all of the planets. Really, I would suggest profecting all of the planets according to the phase angle of the secondary progressed sun. So I'll be explaining the astronomy behind that and how we can work with that, but also getting into like older visions of profections and in the most simple way of the whole sign profection counting technique of bringing the ascendant one click at a time through whole sign houses of your chart, but also showing how this technique was used with quadrant house systems like Placidus, Porphyry, Regiomontanus, etc. over great periods of time, and looking at some techniques that kind of help us dial in the profection maps to really powerful moments each month and over the course of the year and lifetime. I thought I discovered, by the way, but found out with some research that they've been around for a long time, though I do them a little bit differently, and I'm very grateful to Astro Gold software for adding a button that helps me kind of get to it quickly, but I'll show you how to do it without any software at all. Just working with What a beautiful, simple cosmic calculation. All right. And then directing your chart. When I say directing, I'm not in this case meaning solar arc directions, but the old master technique of primary directions. And one of the things that will help us along our way, help steer this deep dive workshop here at the School of Astrology, this fractal time workshop, will be the Bohemian star, the royal star, Regulus, the garnet star. And why? Why Regulus? Well, for me, because Regulus is very visible in the sky right now, because I've received the calling in the fractal timing technique, I wanted to choose a star because in my fixed star workshop here at the School of Astrology, I didn't want to just speak about all 15 of the Bohemian stars at once and just say this is this and this is the, like, I really wanted to take a deep dive and to investigate and experience and study. And there's going to be much more of that. I'm actually personally in the midst of a Pleiades process. I would show you a quartz crystal that's been sitting right here, actually. Quartz is a crystal that in the kind of Renaissance magical tradition, we see associated with the Bohemian star, Pleiades, right? This is the one of the 15 Bohemian stars that's actually more than one star. That's actually a cluster of stars, the Pleiades. And they have some strange associations over time with like blindness. But all clusters and all fuzzy things that we can experience with the naked eye in the sky, but sometimes kind of can't quite make out, have an association with eye issues and can magically be worked with to alleviate eye issues and to also expand the experience of our senses and our vision, not just terrestrially, but celestially. So for those of you that have been on this fixed star journey with me over this last month, and for many of you who have been doing this work with clusters like the Pleiades over times, like you, I'm sure, have experienced the powers that we can grow through connecting the earth beneath our feet with the heavens above as conduits, right? Between, right? As I like to say, as living vows of the marriage of heaven and earth. So I've been wondering which of these powerful stars I would move to next. Zodiacally, the Pleiades in our day and age are at the cusp of tropical Taurus and Gemini. It's like this amazing thing. Like when you see a planet with the Pleiades, you know that they are at the cusp of Taurus and Gemini. If you, like I, prefer the tropical zodiac, the directional zodiac, dare I say the astronomical zodiac, but that's a tale for another time, okay? And so I could just go in zodiacal order to Aldebaran, which I have a personal connection with and been doing some work with over time. Aldebaran was about to rise when I rose many years ago, yada, yada, yada. But I really want to encourage and to facilitate a visible, sensual connection with these stars in the sky so we can kind of ask personally, introduce ourselves, right? Form a relationship and then ask what they mean for us personally, right? A wonderful thing about these Bohemian stars that you can't find for all stars in the skies is these old kind of Renaissance magic tables of crystal correspondence. Like garnet is said to be associated with this amazing star Regulus, the heart of the lion in the sky, as is mugwort. Right, and for the Pleiades, quartz crystal and frankincense and fennel. And as I've been studying with the Pleiades this last month, like in a deeper way than I ever have intentionally, it's just that time of the year, I guess, or maybe my eyes are open, but it's like fennel everywhere. Right, and so there's fennel all over the house right now, and there's quartz crystals over here charging up different things that I'm kind of getting ready to assist me in my personal like heart opening and connection with the Pleiades so I can expand my vision terrestrially and celestially. Right? Well, what's the plan with Regulus? I just want to tell you quickly, I'm out of time, that we are going to go here. And in fact, my fractal time class is going to also have involved with it this Regulus journey where, sorry, I'm looking for buttons here while I'm trying to talk. Where we'll do a couple classes, one of like, what are these associations with Regulus? And like, what are good times to work with Regulus? So I just want to share, this will kind of be like a bonus for anyone who signs up for this fractal time course, right? And GeminiBrett.com/time, which you see at the bottom of the screen, in the moment that I'm speaking, will bring you nowhere, okay? But eventually, and by tonight, when I launch this course, I have a few things to, well, I'd say decide, but the truth is to receive about the kind of when and how, but it will come in. By this evening, GeminiBrett.com/time will take you to the sign up page for fractal timing. And if you're on my list again, which you can sign up for at GeminiBrett.com, I'll be sending out a message about that sometime soon. Okay. Well, let me tell you why I'm live in this moment to speak about Regulus. And the answer is, well, really, let's go to this vision of the heavens here. This evening, the moon, and it depends when I say evening, actually, where on Earth you are, okay? For me, here at 8:06 p.m. might be the time when I get outside and wave this Regulus crystal, this giant garnet lion's heart, at this moon Regulus conjunction and feel Regulus moon crystal me, heart of the earth, and just kind of open this work for me. I don't intend to do anything quote unquote official tonight in my own personal connection with the star. I'm just welcoming it in. I mean, interestingly, for me, at the moment of my birth, this moon sun midpoint is on Regulus. Moon and sun each are related traditionally to eyes, and I've been working with Pleiades for vision, as I shared before. So I'm kind of intrigued that I've been directed towards Regulus. Now, there's a few reasons why Regulus is next on my kind of fixed star connections, transmissions, invitations for fellows like you to come along on a journey and connect and do works with. One, again, is because Regulus is very visible in the sky right now. Clouds allowing, both in the northern and southern hemispheres. And so I, again, really want people to have this visual connection, okay? So why I wanted to speak about this today is this. This is the moment here at 12:25 p.m. today, Friday, May 26, 2023, where I live locally in Richmond, California, where Regulus and the degree that Regulus projects to in the zodiac will rise. In the year of 2012, in August, Regulus processed into tropical Virgo. So after spending more than 2,000 years moving through, let's say roaring through tropical Leo, where you might feel the heart of the lion best belongs, Regulus in the year of 2012 processed into tropical Virgo. This is actually one of the great astrologer Dane Rajar's criterion for the turning of the ages. He's looking to the procession of Betelgeuse next, and that's going to be a little bit, and that's a tale for another time, okay? But just know that in our day and age, Regulus lives here. Now, where I live, and this has to do with your latitude on Earth, okay? So this isn't true everywhere. But where I live, when Regulus rises, Algol, which is another one of the Bohemian stars. Those are the stars that are showing up on your screen right now. these 15 Alcyone here of the Pleiades being a star of that cluster. Each of these, Algol, Aldebaran, Capella, Sirius, Procyon, Regulus, Alcaid, Algarab, Spica, Arcturus, Alphecca, Antares, Vega, and Deneb Algedi are all single stars, okay? But where I live, when you get an election of Regulus rising, you're also getting Algol at the midheaven. All right, so let me just tell you the story of this garnet real quick. I went after breakfast with my beloved Scorpiona into a crystal store, and I thought I was getting away clean because I really wanted to get a kind of cluster quartz to work with the Pleiades, and I did, and it was like $42, and I was going to make it out of a crystal store with only $42 gone, and that felt great. That was a win. But this garnet on the shelf was like, hey, look at me. And I was like, I can't, and he's like, I'm on the sale shelf. And I was like, no. He's like, make a deal with those people. And I was like, all right, maybe. So I went and I said, hey, I see that this is priced this way. I will pay this. And they actually met me there and gave me some discounts on the quartz cluster for the Pleiades. And in that moment that this garnet was calling my name, Regulus was actually rising. And a few moments later, as I'm kind of negotiating with the cat at the stand, Regulus had risen up and the Pleiades were right at the midheaven. So there's actually a visible thing that can happen here at the latitudes where I live, same as Athens, Greece, by the way, where we can see the Pleiades culminating as Regulus is now visible just above the northeastern horizon. And so this time on the chart shown, there's that, not quite yet. It's more like some minutes later, let me go 12 minutes later. All right, but let me bring planets back in here. So now, by the way, you see Alcyone and the Pleiades coming up, Regulus kind of coming up above the horizon, right? Now the Pleiades have culminated. Let me get some planets and Bohemian stars on the screen. And actually now I'm going to go to a few less Bohemian stars. Let's do this Algol, Alcyone, Regulus. Right, so there's a point where Algol's across the midheaven, the Pleiades are there, and that kind of makes sense. There'll be a little moment I get outside and just connect energetically and open to that. But some of the old recipes in working with the stars are put the moon on the fixed star at an angle, especially the ascendant in the midheaven. All right, so here we have the moon not ingressing Virgo. Personally, where I live locally, until after it has culminated at the local meridian, the midheaven. It's already reached its height and now it's going to come down, okay? However, and this is a thing that sadly is not taught, like people teach the midheaven as something right above your head. People teach it as the highest point of the ecliptic. It is neither of those. So when the moon does ingress Virgo, it'll be very close to the top of the ecliptic, because that point is always square the ascendant. So in this moment here, 8:09 p.m., here's 8:08 p.m., here's 8:07 and 8:06, moon into Virgo at the side of Regulus's new home. They're very close to the top of the sky for me. That's this image here, 8:06 p.m., where I live in El Sobrante, California. This is the midheaven, but this is the top of the curve. And so it's really a powerful time for me to kind of be under there. And again, for me, this is opening to Regulus, and the moon will help Regulus come through. It's going to look a little bit more like this. So I'll actually only be able to work with the moon. But as time moves and the sun sets, right, I'll be able to kind of really feel this moon reflecting sunlight to my eyes, like at the side of the heart of the lion, and just open my work in this garnet crystal, which demanded to come home with me some time ago. And even this mugwort will come outside with me, and I'll just open up. So the last thing I want to say right now is, just because of Saturn's position, it's kind of a tricky time for Regulus elections, because as soon as moon comes into Virgo, where Regulus now lives, tropical Virgo that is, she's also opposing Saturn. And that can be a tricky thing. However, at this particular time, because Jupiter has recently ingressed Taurus, Jupiter is casting a trine ray right into this space that lives actually, in this case, between the moon and the sun's ray. The sun's square is here at 5.5 Virgo. Saturn's ray of opposition is here at 7 Virgo, right? So the moon comes in to meet Regulus while applying to trine Jupiter. It's kind of a good time to get outside and connect to Regulus. And to connect to these stars in general, and to the moving stars, the planetus, whom we all know. And I'm devoted this year into finding more techniques for grounding fixed stars into my astrology. In every deep dive workshop I teach this year, there's going to be a different focus star, and Regulus is the one that is coming. So I wanted to share that with folks who are in the school or folks who are interested in doing a workshop with me. Fractal time coming your way soon. If you're watching this at a time that I currently perceive to be the future, you can probably type geminibrett.com/time and get there. If not, try again in a bit. And please be on my list at geminibrett.com. Now, if you like this video, please give it a like, share it around. You know that helps the cause, and I would very much appreciate it. And I look forward to spending some time with you, hopefully, in our study together, and maybe even on Earth someday. Eyes to the sky, friends. See you